Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on The Flash. Yeah, The Flash. So The Flash TV show on the CW did wrap its 9-season run a bit over a month ago. And we of course had the Flash film come out earlier this month after years and years of waiting. And while there is a rumored Rogue series in development at DC Studios to play a part in this new DC universe that James Gunn is cooking up alongside Peter Safran, of course that being the Flash Rogues, not the Batman Rogues, but the Flash Rogues, we weren't exactly sure where the Flash as a character and a property would be heading next. And well, in a surprise for everyone's 2023 bingo card, a new Flash-focused series is only less than 2 weeks away from now. Less than 2 weeks. And you might be sitting there going, what? I haven't heard anything about this. What the hell's going on? And that's the thing. No one had heard about it because it was only announced a few days ago. And it was pretty easy to get away with this in regards to, people not knowing about it and not getting any hints or stuff about it, because it isn't a TV show, an HBO Max series, or even a cartoon, but it's going to be a new entry into DC's ever-growing scripted podcast series that have been, they've been coming out and they've been doing over the past couple of years, roughly. Like the Batman one they did, I think it was Batman Unburied, I think it was called. That did quite well. It was pretty popular. And I think they did a Harley Quinn one as well, with others reportedly planned. There might be some other ones, but I think those are the two that I know of. Now, this new Flash podcast series is called The Flash: Escape the Midnight Circus, and as I said, it's releasing soon on Apple Podcasts. That's the place to listen to it, on July 10th to be exact. And actually, here is a small segment. Jesus Christ, that's a weird word. Segment of it to listen to.
Flash, we've got a situation at the Central City Bank. It's Captain Cold. He's taking hostages.
Be there in a second.
Okay, super speed. Could I create a black hole that engulfs our solar system? Technically, yes. Here we go. Just shake of the hips. Come on. Whoa, 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 whoa. Where am I?
Live from Central City, it's the Midnight Circus. We're talking gladiatorial combat. 50 will enter, but only one will survive to be crowned champion.
Barry Allen?
Captain Cold? I'm not supposed to be here. I tried to travel back through the Speed Force, but I wound up here.
You want to get out of here? You gotta survive the games like the rest of us.
The Flash: Escape the Midnight Circus, an original scripted podcast story, starring Max Greenfield as the Flash.
So yeah, that'll be the general feel, and you get to hear Barry Allen's voice there. But in regards to Barry Allen, this new series will star Max Greenfield as Barry Allen, aka The Flash. Some might recognize him from New Girl, possibly, and other comedic projects like that. And will debut its first 2 episodes on that July 10th, which is a Monday, with new episodes to follow on each Monday afterwards. So you get 2 at the beginning, and then 1 episode per week until it ends. And this series will have 6 episodes in total, and those 6 episodes are pretty varied in length. Like the shortest one is just a bit over 12 minutes roughly, and the longest is a tad over 20 minutes long, and that's obviously the longest one there. So yeah, a bit varied. But also, you're not sitting there for an hour. You can listen to it while you're eating lunch or eating breakfast or on the bus or whatever it is. But we do actually have the synopsis for this series as well as the episode titles. So let's go over those. Barry Allen is at the height of his powers and fame, firmly ensconced as Central City's favorite superhero, but when being the Flash forces him to let Iris down one time too many, she decides to call it quits. Undeterred, Barry figures he can use the Speed Force to go back in time and set things right. Oh, that's always going to work, isn't it? But unsurprisingly, something goes wrong. Barry tumbles into a new dimension, finding himself in a small bedroom with Captain Cold, his powers gone. Cold tells Barry that he's an unwitting participant in a televised tournament, the Midnight Circus, which pits humans, superheroes, and rogues against one another in life or death games of chance. Survive the competition, and Barry earns his freedom, recreate the conditions of his original transformation, and return to his own timeline. But to do so, he'll have to rely solely on his wits, and if that wasn't hard enough, he soon finds himself facing his toughest opponent yet, Iris West. So this is a pretty interesting setup, if you want to put it, for a series, at least a podcast thing, which is sort of small in its stature in regards to how long it's going to go for. It does seem pretty interesting that Barry's going to be potentially teaming up with Captain Cold, at least I guess at some point, because also that the segment that you would have listened to, or maybe at least the trailer they released that segment was from, has Barry fighting Captain Cold at the beginning of it before he actually goes into this new dimension via, accessing the Speed Force. But now, so he's fighting at the beginning and then has to maybe team up with him to get some help in regards to dealing with this new dimension in this Midnight Circus tournament that's going on. Now, it does say that Barry has to sort of recreate the situation that gave him his powers in order to, get powers, because he comes into this new dimension without them. So I don't know how long you'd get him without his powers and stuff like that. I guess he has to survive the tournament to get to that point, but that's what it seems at the very least. Now, the big thing with this, and some of you might be like, oh, okay, this sounds pretty familiar, is that this sounds a lot like Flashpoint, except without the ever impending war that's coming. It sounds very similar. It sounds like it's ripping a few parts from different storylines and everything like that. So it's not ridiculously original, but I think it's got enough of a standing. I'm not going to hire I don't know if it actually says who wrote this thing. I don't think that's actually out there at the moment. We just know that Max Greenfield is starring as Barry Allen, or doing the voice acting for Barry Allen or the Flash. I don't know if they actually said who wrote it, so I don't even think it's meant to be this complex story or anything like that. At least from the sounds of it. It doesn't sound like it's meant to be overly complex, so I don't know who the writer is. Now, I did see some people blowing up about that last line where it goes, and if that wasn't hard enough, doing all that stuff to, fix himself and potentially get back to his own timeline, he soon finds himself facing his toughest opponent yet, Iris West. Everyone's like, oh my god, they're making Iris the villain. I don't think that's what it's saying. I think it's more about he's got to face up to Iris and accept that what he was doing was wrong, and I guess trying to make time. If he wants to be with Iris, he has to make time for it. If he doesn't want to, just move on. But obviously he wants to be with Iris. So I think that's what that whole bit of the synopsis is saying. At least that's what I'm reading from it, and I'm pretty sure I'm right in regards to saying that. Now, I know the trend of Barry losing his powers, oh, come on, but if it works in the story, it works in the story. I think you just don't want him without his powers for too long. That's probably where it becomes, a bit frustrating. But in regards to the episode titles, as I said, there's 6 and they vary in length. I'll probably read out the length of these episode titles when I read out the episode title itself, just so you know. So episode 1 is called Priorities, obviously leaning into the fact that Iris isn't a priority in Barry's current circumstance. That goes for 18 minutes and 24 seconds. Episode 2 is called The Inherent Dangers, which is the shortest episode it's the second shortest. This goes for 12 minutes and 48 seconds. Episode 3 is called Fully Talked, which can have some sus undertones. That goes for 15 minutes and 19 seconds. The Psychodrome is the longest episode. That's episode 4, and that goes for 20 minutes and 38 seconds. Episode 5 is called Cyclotron Dawn, which is going for 13 minutes and 8 seconds. And episode 6, the finale for this podcast series, is called Blackout, and is also the shortest episode of the entire thing, and that is 12 minutes and 17 seconds. Now, in regards to those episode titles, there's only 2 that maybe stand out, and the 2 final episodes, episode 5 being called Cyclotron Don. Is that in reference to Don Allen, or is that just a guy that's called Don? Just another character that's randomly called Don in this series, similar to, Barry's kid that he potentially is going to be having. So I'm not too sure if that's a reference to that, but it caught my eye when I first saw it. And then, of course, episode 6 is called Blackout. Is this in reference to the character of Blackout, which in the comics is, I think, only a Flashpoint character? Obviously, on the TV show The Flash, it was a villain. But in the Flashpoint comic, he's a part of that, the Heroes of America or whatever they're called. So I don't know if that's in reference to that, but it's also a short episode. I don't know if he'd be in there, but he might be. So maybe that is the character. Or a blackout can mean multiple things. Obviously, electricity going out, everything like that. So that might be what it's in reference to. I'd assume that's probably the case. Now, in regards to this series, will you be listening? I was going to say, will you be watching, but it's not a thing you watch. I don't know if there's going to be anything visual with it. It's an Apple podcast. You just listen to it. So I don't know if there'd be anything on the YouTube side where they might put something on screen. I don't think that'd be the case. But then again, someone with a bit more artistic value could do a bit of an cinematic sort of thing to match up with what's being said. I don't know if that'll be the case, but that might happen. But will you be listening to it? I mean, I might give it a listen when it's coming out just because they are short episodes. There's only one that exceeds 20 minutes and it's by 38 seconds. So they're easy to listen to, as I said before, when you're eating lunch, eating breakfast, on the bus, just need to pass time. on the goddamn toilet, if that needs to be the case. You know, you can just listen to it then. So, you know, because it's shorter, it's actually pretty easy to get into and listen. It's probably just the fact that you don't get them all at once. You have to, you know, wait week after week after week to get each episode after the first 2 episodes do release on July 10th. So I'll probably give it a listen. I don't know if it would be worth covering at least week to week. Actually, probably wouldn't be worth covering at all week to week, but I might give my thoughts on it when it's all released. If it's worth it, I'm like, hey, it's actually pretty decent. You should go listen to it. But that's a wait and see, obviously. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome. You could drop a like and it shows support. Will you be listening? Let me know in the comments. Do you just want more Flash stuff? You're just like, hey, it's a podcast, but I'll listen to it. Yeah, let me know your thoughts down there. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe and I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.